students. My name is Madam Joyce from Educare Tanzania. I'm teaching biology, and today I'll be with you to discuss our topic, which is found in class level Form 5. And this topic, it is called the coordination and irritability. So now within this topic, now we are going to discuss on our subtopic, which is the coordination in plants. So my student, this subtopic, which is the coordination in plants, we have already started looking on the last or in the previous sessions, whereby in the previous session we try to look on the differences between the nervous system, the coordination in animal and also coordination in plant. And thereafter we were going more further to see the kinds of movement that the plant exhibit. And now we try to look on the tactic movement on the last session. So that is kwenye tactic movement tukaona there is different kinds of types of movement that an organism can possess. And one of it is photonasty. We have seen geonastic and so on. So my student, in our today's session we are going to proceed looking on the nastic movement. We are going to proceed looking on the nastic movement. But remember, when we are talking about the types of the growth about the types of the growth movement in a plant, we have almost 3 types. And the first we have already covered about tactic movement. So in our today's session, we are going to start looking on the nastic movement. But later on, we're going to finish, or we're going to wind up our discussion by looking on the tropic movement. So now let's start looking on the nastic movement. That is B. A, we have already covered it. So now we have to know what is this nastic movement and what kind of an organism possess this kind of movement. Now you are warm welcome. So now we are saying that the nastic movement is non-directional movement of a part of a stationary plant in response to external stimulus. It is a non-directional movement of a part of a body of a plant. For example, here we are talking about a plant. You know, plant is in stationary state. Kwa maana kwamba hiko pala haiwezi ikamove kutoka sehemu moja kwenda sehemu nyingine. Sasa either pakatokea the movement of the branch of a plant. Hapa tutasema kwamba hiyo movement ni kind of the nastic movement, since the plant itself it is in stationary state. And also we can say that based on the nature of the stimuli, nastic movement can be divided into the following groups. It is a non-directional movement. A good example of this nastic movement, my student, we can say that when the mimosa podica is touched by an organism, it tends to shrink so that it can protect their structure or their leaves. You know, mimosa podica ni ile majani ambayo ukiagusa tu yanasinyaa. Kwa hiyo sasa ile tendency ya mimosa podica to shrink ndiyo tunasema kwamba ni kind of nastic movement. That is non-directional movement that is provided by a mimosa podica. We have almost different or several kinds of this nastic movement. And the following now we are going to see what are those or what are the type of the nastic movement. And the first type here, it is called the nyctinasty movement. That is a nastic movement. That words come from nastic movement. So what is this nyctinasty movement? Here we are saying that this is the nastic movement which occurs in the response of diurnal changes of temperature. That is thermonasty or light intensity. So that is a photonasty. So within a nyctinasty movement, we have got 2 kinds of movement. The first one, it is called the thermonasty, and the second one, it is called the photonasty. Tukisema thermonasty, meaning that the plant can move into the direction of the temperature That is whereby in either in a cold region or in the hot region. That is thermonasty. Lakini tukija kuongelea photonasty, meaning that the presence of light. So a plant can move into the direction where there is a light. So that is a photonasty. So a good example now, let's now see the example of nyctinasty. The example of nyctinasty is the opening and closing of the petal of some flowers that occurs in the response to alternation in the duration of a day and a night. So we have an organism, or we have a plant that they respond due to the presence of light. For example, we have a sunflower. Sunflower obvious au kuna maua mengine yanakuwa yana open pale ambapo kuna mwanga, lakini mwanga ukififia au wakati wa usiku yale maua yanajifunga. It's due to what? It's due to the presence of the nastic movement or nastinacty which is found within the body. And now we can say that another example is the slip movement of the leaves of some leguminous plant in the response to onset of the darkness. Also we have some leguminous plant, mimea jamii ya kunde, na yenyewe pia ina respond to the presence of light. Pale ambapo kunakuwa na mwanga unakuta yale majani yame open. Lakini ukikuta ule mwanga au during mid time au tunasema night time ile majani yanakuwa yanasinyaa. Kwa sababu gani? Those plants they are responsible or they respond due to the presence of light. So that is all about nyctinasty. So thereby within the nyctinasty we have seen two kinds of examples or two kinds of types of this nyctinasty. The first one is the thermonasty and the second one is photonasty. Also we have another types of the nastic movement, and this is thermonasty. That is a thermonasty. So we have to know what is this thermonasty. Remember, this thermonasty, it is found within the nyctinasty. So now we are going to see all of them, starting from this thermonasty. Thereafter we'll be going more further discussing on the photonasty. Here we are saying that this thermonasty is the movement of a plant part in the response to temperature. So the movement of a plant part, a part of a plant, since the plant itself it is stationary. So the part of a plant, it can be either roots, it can be either stem, or it can be either leaves or a branch of a tree. So when it moves in the response to a stimuli, that is a temperature, ndipo ambapo tunapata thermonasty. It can be either move toward the stimuli or move away from a stimuli. That you get the negative thermonasty and positive thermonasty. So now we are saying that example of some flowers close when the temperature drops, or some leaves fall when the temperature is too high. So kuna majani ambayo yanakuwa yana respond to different kinds of temperature changes. For example, here we have seen that we have some flower, they close when the temperature drops. Pale ambapo temperature inakuwa ndogo, yani kunakuwa na baridi sana, hii unakuta maua yamejifunga, hayachanui. Lakini kuna pia baadhi ya miti au baadhi ya mimea tunasema kwamba they respond to the temperature change when the temperature is too high. So their leaves they fold themselves. Those we can say that those plants that they respond to such kind of changes, they belong to thermonasty movement. That is non-directional movement provided by changes in the temperature. Also, apart from thermonasty, we have another type of the nastic movement, and this is chemonasty movement. So what is this now? As the way it expresses itself here, that chemo meaning that the presence of chemicals. So this organism probably they respond to changes in chemical within the environment. So now let's see the explanation. Here we can say that this is the movement of a plant party in the response of chemical stimuli. For example, sundew plants, close glandular hairs due to the chemical produced by the insect when they land on it. This prevents the escape of the insect. So tuna mimea ambayo iko responsible for detecting any kind of chemical changes. Kwa mfano hapa tumesema kwamba we have this sundew plant. Sundew plant ni mmea ambao una maua. Yale maua yanachanua. In the presence of the insect to enter through that flower, yule ua linajifunga. Likishajifunga, so yule mdudu hatakuwa na uwezo tena wa kutoka mule, so ataendelea kuremain within the flower. Hilo tunasema kwamba chemonastic, the kind of movement whereby they are response to a chemical stimuli. For example, here we have seen that sundew close glandular hairs due to the chemical produced by the insect. So the insect is responsible for producing the chemicals. And this sundew plant, it is very sensitive, or they are responding to the chemical that is provided by a insect. So what the response that the sundew plant produce is whereby now the sundew plant will close their flower so that to kill those insects. And that is how they use themselves, so that it can protect themselves from harm object, or from harm insect, so that they cannot cause the damage within the flower or within the plant in general. So my students, here we have seen almost 3 kinds of nastic movement. I would like to welcome you again to the next part of this session, is whereby we are going to see photonastic movement and other kinds of nastic movement. Thank you for listening.